or two, just in case for some reason my phone decides to not work today. Okay. And here we go. All right, so we are going to start today in supine butterfly. Okay, so you'll bring the soles of your feet together, knees sway up to the side, and you'll be laying down on your back. I do encourage you to bring as many props that can look like pillows in Yin, rolled up blankets or towels. If you have yoga blocks or bolsters, great. But if you don't, you can use anything from your home. Hands for this pose might feel good to land over top of your belly or your heart. You just take them down beside you, or you can always bring your arms overhead. I just want you to close down your eyes if that's comfortable. And just start to breathe. Or start to bring awareness to your breath. I'm not going to tell you tonight that everything is okay or that everything is working out in this moment, because that often includes that we deny ourselves our own feelings and our own emotions. But what I will tell you tonight is that you're allowed to breathe. You are allowed to just feel what you feel and know that that is enough. For anyone just joining us, we're starting in supine butterfly, so you can just make your way there. This practice is really just going to be about giving yourself some space to be present in order to move through whatever is coming up or feels sticky. You have to acknowledge it. And so, however you started today, can you give yourself permission to be? And whenever that feels like a little bit too much or it feels a little bit unsafe, come back to your breath and know that even if it's just for that moment, it's okay to just breathe. And that's all that you have to do. Breathe in and breathe out. If anything on your back tonight doesn't feel comfortable, especially my ladies that are expecting, know that you can always prop yourself up onto a bolster, create a ramp. You can shift any of these positions to bring yourself to a place where you can really settle in. Let's just take 5 more breaths. really give yourself this space to drop. Like, you know, that feeling when you sigh out and you just start to melt, let your entire body sigh out. And then gently bring your hands to the outer edges of your knees and help to guide your knees up through center. And just simply extend your legs out long and allow yourself to just sit in the pause. Sometimes we have this urgency to move or to shift after we are in all of that sensation. But the transitions in between poses are really important to just settle. Give space to everything that's moving to continue on its journey without us forcing it. So just become aware what that feels like. And then gently bend back into your knees. And now start to wash that out. So wash your knees left and right, feet planted, rolling to the edges of your feet as your knees move side to side. As much as this practice is about stillness, there are moments where we're going to need to move ourselves when we get overly stuck. So know that this is always optional if you really need to transition from one place to the next. All right. Heel toe your feet together so they're about hip width distance apart. And then if you do have a pillow available, take a pillow in between your knees. Press into the soles of your feet and shift your hips over to the left. So they might slide or pick up and then place back down. Bring your arms either to a T shape, a cactus, a diamond shape. Hug your knees in towards your chest as much as is comfortable, and then allow your knees to drop over to the opposite side, all the way over to the right. You can lessen the intensity and depth of this twist by taking more pillows underneath your bottom leg. You can add in any props to gaps between your body and the ground. As long as both shoulder blades are rooted, this twist is going to be happening into your thoracic spine rather than the low back, which we want to ease pressure off of rather than add more. And I encourage you to really just let this be gentle tonight. Sometimes we come into this practice thinking we have to do more or push or get somewhere. Can you trust that you've done enough? Tonight's just about breathing, relaxing, and giving yourself this gift of space. this space that you are given on your mat, the stillness, the quiet. Sometimes it doesn't seem like a gift because there's a lot of energy, sometimes inner chaos happening. And so it doesn't always feel super nurturing to just sit with yourself, and know that that's okay if that's your experience or your relationship tonight. This practice isn't about perfect stillness or quiet. This is just about accepting where you are, how that feels, and just creating a relationship with yourself. It's okay to be sad or angry, upset, aloof, apathetic. It's okay to be happy, joyful, excited. Just creating this new relationship with self that at any given moment in your life, it's safe to just be within your body. So last couple of breaths in your twist. Maybe just send that gentle reminder that you are okay to just be here. For this next shape, if you do have a bolster under your back and you're up onto an angle in your twist, you can stay with the bolster for the next pose if that's more comfortable. Majority of you will be flat on your mat, and that's perfectly fine too. Just slowly start to pick your knees back up, and you can release your pillow over to the left side. Extend your right leg long. Keep your left knee bent, and then just allow your left knee to drop out to the side for sleeping tree. If this feels like too much on your left hip, take that same pillow you had between your knees and just place it underneath your thigh. Arms can stay wide, or you can always land your hands over top of your belly or your heart. This is meant to be a really gentle and relaxing pose. So if it feels deep, just add more props underneath you to hold you up. When you first come into a pose, a good practice is just start with your breath. Sometimes in the transitions, we start to lose that connection with our inhales and our exhales. Sometimes our breath gets carried away and starts to race or shorten. So if you just start by paying attention to your breath, naturally it will lengthen, will relax, and offer your body some space to just let go. even if this home practice is, far from perfect, you don't have the luxury of being all together in a room where we can help to ground each other, or where noise is canceled out, or the lighting is perfect, the mood is perfect. Can you acknowledge that there is some opportunity to really dive deeper into your emotional body? So sometimes when we're around others, we put up that wall. I'm fine. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm good, I'm okay. But when we're at home, there's a space for vulnerability where you can let go of the fines, the goods, the okays, and really let yourself feel what you feel. Don't have to worry about bawling your eyes out or laughing or, whatever emotion comes up. There's a safety to being in your own home, where you can just be, and be imperfect and be messy. And so despite the fact that this is a little different than maybe we're used to, or we have done yoga in the past, can you embrace that there are some also really beautiful offerings of this at-home yoga? Let's take 3 more breaths. Gently guide your bent knee all the way back up through center. Just extend that leg out. Pause in a mini Shavasana. Allow sensation to gently move and course through your body. It's almost like pausing and just allowing the world to move around you for a moment. Letting go of that urgency or need to be the conductor of the vehicle, and instead just being a passenger, just watching the horizon move. Instead of moving through something, just pausing. With that being said, if you do need any movement or shift before we find twist on the other side, you're welcome to bend into your knees. You can always gently drop your knees left or right, or you can hug your knees into your chest or sides of your rib cage. And then when you're ready, once again, find your pillow or prop, whatever that looks like tonight. Shift your hips this time all the way over to the right, and then allow your knees to drop over to the left. Again, if you are up onto that bolster, this is for, I find it really helpful if you are in your 2nd or 3rd trimester, to just be propped up. It'll take a little less pressure on the belly and on the chest and give you more space to breathe. But if anyone else feels like they need that, know that's always an option to just stack a bunch of pillows underneath your shoulders and create a little pyramid stack so you're up on an angle. Settle into this side of twist, maybe allowing your gaze to move to the opposite shoulder. Arms wide or overhead, just root through both shoulder blades. Feel into your breath and how there's a lightness as you breathe in. There's this heaviness as you breathe out. Notice what comes up, what shows up in the moments where distraction of physical form has faded. You're not distracting yourself by moving or doing. This is where we really get to meet ourselves on our mat of what's happening beneath the busyness, what's happening beneath really the distraction of doing. What perhaps even are you afraid to sit with? And instead of building that fear and distracting your mind elsewhere, can you just sit with it for a moment? Start to embrace your emotions and let go of the labels of good or bad, and recognize that what you feel is truth. That's what you're experiencing, and that's your truth. So it's not right or wrong, it's just there. And if that truth becomes too heavy at any point or too overwhelming, just come back to your breath. Really working to ease yourself into acknowledgement, but also honoring yourself to take baby steps. Let go of anywhere that you're getting stuck or rewinding back to. Take a new breath in and reset. Start all over again. Start fresh. Let go of what's past. And just do this as many times as you need to clear out what isn't serving you in this stillness. And so with that being said, it's not, don't clear out the emotions. You don't have to push them away or hide them, but start to clear out the stories. So emotions are real, they're energy in motion. It's how our body is reacting to outside circumstances. The stories are what we make that mean. The stories are what we take from an experience and our perception of it, and what we create it into. It's all the extra little bits. And so all the, oh, this is what this is going to be, or this is what this was, rather than this is what happened, and this is real, and this is truthful. Try to drop all the other narratives and just recognize how that feels instead. The only thing that makes a narrative real is evidence, and this story you're telling yourself is evidence. And so if that story isn't serving you, just come back to what's real right now, and that's your breath. We're just here for a couple more breaths. Know that you can always shift back to it whenever you need. Gently start to rise your knees back up through center. This time, your left leg will extend long. Right knee stays bent, and then just allow your right knee to drop off to the side. Hands can always change over top of your body if you're feeling a little disconnected, or they can come in a little bit closer if your chest is feeling a little too exposed. Optional to take the pillow that you had between your knees and just bring it underneath your right knee or your right thigh. Settle into whatever is comfortable, whatever is nourishing. Try to use this pose as a transition, so it's giving you space to let go of your twist and almost just flop into the present moment. Just open up and sit in this shape. Stay present for whatever comes and let whatever needs to leave exit. And just like your breath rises and falls, you draw air in and then you let it go. You can think of the same approach to your mind. Anything that comes in can also leave just as easily. Especially if a thought is an unwelcome visitor tonight, really focus on the exhale breath. And then take that next new inhale. Fill up, start over, and use the exhale to clear out. What's interesting with emotions is a lot of what we learn in yoga philosophy is to let go of the things that you can't change. And you can't change your emotions because they are connected to your environment. And so what happens around you will affect you emotionally. But what you can change is how you think about that, how you speak, how you act, the habits, the patterns. So the emotions are real. Let yourself feel. They're telling you something about your external environment. We don't just feel emotions for no reason. We feel them because something sparked us to feel them. An event, a person, a situation. And so really important when you notice this, don't let the emotion now turn into a story. You can ask yourself, where is your truth in this? How can you see this with an open mind and open heart? Where can you let go of the past story that might be infiltrating and creating, your future? So it's not letting go necessarily the emotion, but letting go of our past habits, our samskaras, our ways of reacting, and starting to create new ones that better serve us. But no, you don't have to do that tonight. Just embracing yourself and how you feel is enough. Last little bit on this side. Maybe even just soften into your physical body and create some space to just melt in. Gently help to guide your bent knee up through center. And once again, just extend your leg long for a moment. Mini Shavasana. Bring your attention and awareness into your body. Just notice. Tune in. Gently roll yourself to your favorite side. Whether it's right or left, there's no perfect way. Just finding your side body. Let yourself rest there. Head rest heavy into your right bicep. And then gently press yourself all the way up and come into a comfortable seat. I like cross-legged, but what I do find really helpful, if this is tight on your hips, is sit up onto a couple of pillows. You might need to stack more than one, even something like a bolster height, so that you can then start to tilt forward, and you'll notice I have less of a crease in my hips. So easy seat, comfortable seat. If you need to uncross your legs and just straighten them out, no, that's always an option. Just roll out your shoulders a couple of times. Shoulders tend to be a place where we hold a lot of tension. And if you look at energetic anatomy, the emotion connected with this chakra is grief. And so you've settled your shoulders down your back. You can always take a couple of half circles with the head or neck. Try to avoid full circles. That can put a lot of strain on the cervical spine. Just kind of moving some energy into this area so you can settle in. Whenever you're ready, really restorative, we're just going to fold. So fold over top of your shins, your thighs. You can always add in extra props to hold you up. I find it really helpful to place your forehead on a prop. So this might look like a stack of your pillows or blocks. Hands underneath your forehead, perhaps, or if you do have a bolster, you can always tilt it up and fold over top of your bolster, propped up by maybe some blocks or books. If it feels okay for the back of your head or neck, you are welcome to let your head hang heavy. Just make sure that this isn't causing any pain or sharpness. Folds to me are a space of coming back to home, where we are shutting out the external world and we're starting to curl inwards. And if think sometimes this is so, so important to just take these pauses from the energy of what's happening around us and just check in. How are you doing today? How is your body feeling? How is your heart feeling? And when you're in this conversation with yourself, act like you're talking to a friend. You wouldn't tell a friend that's not what you're feeling or you're being dramatic. You would maybe just nod your head and say, I know, or I understand, or that must be tough. So whatever you are feeling, respond like you're talking to someone you love. You let your body rest heavy. Give yourself 5 more breaths. Slow down your breath so that you have this full space to be here. But in knowing that there's only about 3 or 4 more breaths left, you also allow yourself to just surrender, let go. If you are still folded, gently walk your hands back up and towards your body. And then walk your fingertips back behind you and lean back enough you'll start to lift your knees up through center and extend your legs out wide for a moment. And you can just lean back. This is going to release your hip creases. If your feet are feeling a little bit sticky, you can always roll out your ankles a couple of times. If you do need movement, you can always slide your heels up and leaning back, wash your knees side to side. Now this next pose, you have agency of whatever you need. We're gonna take a hip opener. Okay, so trust that your body knows. First option is deer. Second option, shoelace. Third option, double pigeon. Or pigeon if deer isn't your jam either. Okay, so if you're taking deer, we're gonna start over on the left hip. So take your weight to your left hip, right leg stacks over top. And then you'll scoop your right knee off to the side, but weight's going to stay fully in that left hip. Otherwise, you're gonna feel a pinching sensation into the right hip. And then what's beautiful with deer is you can fold forward over top of your shin, or you might end up in more of a twist and drape your body over top of your left thigh. If this pose isn't for you, from this pose, you can actually stay as you are, and then you'll scoop up your back knee, similar to cross-legged, but this time you're gonna cross your right ankle over top of your left knee so that your shins basically stack on top of one another. If this pulls on your knees at all, you can lean back, slide your right knee over top of your left for shoelace and try out that variation. Pinky edges of your feet to the earth, knees stacked. So instead of a square shape, you're creating more of a triangle with your legs. And in either of those last two poses, you can always straighten out your bottom leg. Option to fold or stay upright in your double pigeon or your shoelace, those last two poses. Okay, so lots and lots of options. This is a practice of listening to your body. What does it need? And then trusting that. And if your body changes its mind and it starts to nudge you in a different direction, follow the nudge. Even if that means you come out early or you switch poses. Let this practice be about accepting where you're at and what you need from that place. We talked a little bit about the heart chakra and the shoulders and just moving some energy there as grief is connected to this area of the body, which shoulders, it makes sense. When you grieve, it is a shaking of the chest, the heart center. It's a rounding forward, it's a protecting of self. And so there tends to be a lot of tension in those areas. Hips and energetic anatomy, you may have heard, are about emotions, but more so about your right to feel. And hip openers can be really intense, so they do bring up some uncomfortable feelings at times. And so the lesson in hip openers is to not try to distract yourself with thought. You don't check out of your body and go into your head. We do that enough. We lead with our head enough. The practice of hip openers is to sit with the emotion. You are allowed to feel what you feel, and nobody is allowed to tell you it's right or wrong. The stories are fiction, but the emotion, that gut-wrenching, the butterflies, the anticipation or excitement, the melting of joy, or the darkness of sorrow, those are real. You can feel them. And in energetic anatomy, we move up through the body. And so this is a crucial step, that in order to move to that next chakra of your stomach, which is your right to act or your right to be, you have to acknowledge how you feel. So that when you do act, it comes from a place of authenticity and truth. I think a lot of us are hurt right now and we're acting out, but it's not our best self. It's not our true self. It's because we're not acknowledging those emotions. So if you can just sit with them and acknowledge that this is what you're going through, maybe you can start to be kinder to yourself, change the perspective. Maybe you can just give yourself space to work through wherever you feel like you're stuck. We're almost through this side. See if in this next minute or so, you can simply feel. Let thoughts come and go, but just sit within your body. Take a deep breath in through your nose, let your belly rise up. And then full body sigh with your exhale, let that go. Take one more breath, inhale. And exhale, completely release. If you folded, take your time to gently come back up through center. If you're in shoelace or double pigeon, just untangle your legs as you lean back. If you're in deer, scoop up your back knee. In all of these, it'll probably feel nice to extend your legs out long and just lean back, or you can windshield wiper knees left and right. But give yourself a place to pause at some point to just let sensation move on its own as well. Whatever that shape looks like, just trust your body. And there's absolutely no rush. But when you're ready, find the same pose on the other side. So it might be deer over on your right hip, left knee pulls off to the side. Maybe you're folding forward or you're folding over top of your thigh. If you're taking the other two variations, it might be square or what we call double pigeon, with your left ankle on your right knee and left knee over top of right ankle. Option to straighten the leg in this shape. Or you cross left knee over right knee with the feet coming out to the side, creating more of that triangle or pyramid shape of your legs. Option to fold or stay upright. As long as there's no pulling, like a deep pulling in your joints, you're welcome to stay exactly as you are. If you ever feel that zing, or if it feels like too much, it probably is. So if you're feeling that, just ease out a little bit, come to a lesser sensation, and then see how that feels to just sit back. Sometimes that's the practice to drop the ego and just sit more with yourself and less with a distraction of sensation, because sensation can be something we use to check out, where we can only focus on trying to get through, then we're not really focused on the present moment. So find that balance for you, an opening of the body, but also space where you can enjoy it, even if it's a little uncomfortable at times. And how potent that's a lesson off the mat too. Instead of just trying to get through something or wait for something to pass, how can we shift ourselves so that it's safe and it's okay to just be in the present moment? I can't pretend to know exactly how each of you is feeling exactly in this moment or what's going on. But I do know that the human experience, it affects all of us. That we all go through the same emotions. We've all experienced joy and sadness and excitement, loss, achievement, hurt, anger, frustration. These are all basic emotions and feelings. And what I do know to be true is that we've all lost something this year. And there is a collective grief that's happening. And we're all honoring something that's shifted or changed. And so if you go back into that emotion of grief, remember that there are stages of it. There are different emotions linked to grief. Denial, anger, apathy, acceptance. And acceptance is the last one. So it doesn't happen all of a sudden, and it doesn't happen because you forced yourself. You know, I think we've all experienced that healing isn't horizontal. And the best way to work into healing is to just embrace wherever you're at on that journey. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you've gone through or are going through, I recognize that this is your path of healing, of grieving, of letting go, because letting go and grief are actually quite similar. And it's hard to find space for joy. We're so stuck in the past or in our future stories. And so in this next space of stillness, maybe you just unwind the stories or the what ifs or whatever you've told yourself something is going to be, and just let yourself feel. Take 3 more breaths in this hip opener. And then at the end of your 3rd breath, you'll just slowly start to make your way out. Find that same recovery pose that you did on the other side. So especially when legs are quite tangled, it'll feel nice to just straighten them out. If you were folded, leaning back will often release hips, but sometimes you do need that movement to just kind of rinse out the stickiness. We have made our way to the end of this practice. So final pose options, you can take Shavasana, or if you want to work a little bit into the heart center, you can add in props in Shavasana for supported fish. So it'll look the same from the lower body, legs extended, but you might, if you have a bolster, you can ramp it up again and lay back over top with arms wide. If you just have pillows, you can set your pillows up, stack them one on top of another, and then you're just going to give your heart that extra lift. So make sure the back of your head is supported, chin might lift up. I like to take 2, sometimes 3 pillows, but make sure it's comfortable. If you are just feeling like you need the ground and the earth and your body to connect in Shavasana, take Shavasana. Wherever you have landed though, I encourage you, palms face up so you are open to receiving. And perhaps using this space and time to just normalize. Normalize emotions and ups and downs. Normalize what you're feeling. But I guarantee you somebody else in this class is feeling the same way. And it might not look the same or have the same characters, but I promise you, you are not alone in this. We're all carrying our own little bag behind us of our stories. And when you start to talk to other people, you'll notice how similar we think and we act. I think sometimes just knowing we're not alone, we're all in this same storm together, we're just in different boats. I'll leave you here for just about a minute or so in silence and stillness on my end, but know you can always take longer if you need it. And I'll bring you out so we can close off together. A mantra can be a really beautiful way to ground yourself or shift out of the stories. And one that I found really powerful lately is I'm doing the best I can. And if that looks like sleeping in until noon or taking a sick day, if it means making mistakes and having to apologize, if it means getting it wrong, failing, not showing up as my best self, it's a great reminder that you are human and you are doing the human things, and that is hard. So remind yourself, I am doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. You're welcome to stay exactly as you are and just close off in Shavasana. If you'd prefer to meet and seated, just take the next moment or so to roll to either side. And use the next few moments to press yourself up. if that's what you're choosing. This is one of my favorite mudras, and I feel like it's especially needed tonight. So interlace your fingers to the webbing, and then just place your hands on top of your heart. This is the unbreakable, unshakable mudra. Even when it feels like we can't handle it, remember to just take that breath. This is a mudra that reminds us that we are strong, even when we don't feel it. You know, sometimes we just have to breathe. Sometimes we just have to let go. But we are unshakable. So much love, so much gratitude. Thank you guys for joining tonight. It is always my honor. Namaste. I'll stay on if you need anything or you just want to chat. But thank you for your support now and always. And I hope I get to see more of you guys over this break.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. It was so nice to see you, Alicia.
You too. That was like my first yoga class since baby.
Oh, that's so
Besides like 15-minute YouTube videos here and there.
Yeah, totally. How is it being a mama?
It's good. Yeah, it's crazy times. But...
And are you working right now?
Pardon?
Are you working right now?
No.
Okay.
No. So I'm very grateful for that right now. It's good times.
Oh, for sure. We'll keep in touch. I'd love to hear how everything's gone. I feel like I haven't seen you in so long. So.
I know. I'm excited. These Tuesdays should be perfect. So
amazing.
Put it in my schedule.
I love that.
Yeah. Thanks so much. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Bye.
Good night.
Did I put you to sleep, Lauren?